Deciding on a career path in Namibia may be one of the most difficult things for our generation. This is because the chances of making it may be equivalent to those of not making it. In order for one to succeed, you're expected to have unshakable faith, laser focus, and perseverance. Join us on this 12th episode of It's a Quake as we speak to 4 young local entrepreneurs who speak to us about their journey to and through self-employment and tell us their thoughts about whether they think it is a choice or a circumstance.
It's a Quake.
Okay, my name is Helia Soini Haifene. I grew up in Okanja, but I'm from Enana. I am a full-time entrepreneur and a student at the University of Science and Technology. I grew up in a business-orientated environment, so business started from home. At a very young age, I started selling Ace at home and Fudge. And I think the motivation came from my mom as well because she's an entrepreneur as well. So when I came to university, that is when I felt like I needed to create the opportunity for myself to become self-employed because I wanted to be my own boss. So that is how I started my journey as an entrepreneur. So my registered business name is Funky Fair Trading CC, which is known as Funky Fair Shop. I think what motivated the name was we were the first entrepreneurship learners to do Entrepreneurship Day. So I think that was the name I came up with. Funky, basically something that is groovy and eye-catching. Fair, every business should be fair. So I put the two together and then that is how I came up with the name, Funky Fair Shop. An average week, I think it depends on where the week falls on because I have 4 uploads in every month. So if the week falls on a day where I had an upload, the next day would be very busy from admin work to sending out parcels to responding to online questions to walk-ins. So it's really busy. Let me say on 20th we have an upload of suit jackets, and then the 25th we have denim jackets, and then month end we have blouses and pants. So I just try to make that up. I definitely want to take this business out of my home. Definitely, I'd like a shop. I'd love to be in a future employer. So definitely a shop, and I'll see myself employing at least 5 employees in the future. Sole trader at the moment. Your social life, it's limited, very much limited. You don't have time. Time is very crucial because the time that you have mostly is to run the business. Even when you're close, you run the business every day. So basically my social life is very limited. I think my objectives and goals and my whys, you always remember why you started, so that keeps me going. One, patience and tolerance. You're working with different people with different standards and understanding, so it's very hard to deal with people in general. So you need a lot of patience. You need to be patient because being patient also takes patience. It's not uncapped, it's limited, so try by all means to be very, very, very patient. 2, you need to be resourceful. You need to be able to deal with uncertain situations that happened at the time. Whatever it is, you need to be able to tackle as fast as possible. Number 3, I think you need good communication and interpersonal skills. You need to be able to convey a message to your clients as clear as possible or as frank as it can be. So that is very important. Number 4, I think consistency. You need to keep up. You need to be very hardworking. You need to push yourself every day. You need to wake up and just push yourself. I think it's self-discipline. I think you must first be able to identify your weaknesses and strengths, and then you look into something that you're passionate about, because if you don't have passion for what you're doing, you would gladly give up. So do something that you love, or find a hobby, or find something that you love to do and turn it into a business. Otherwise, it won't work. Believe me, it will not work. I feel like the two are narrow. So for some, it's linked, it goes hand in hand, but majority, I would say, is a choice, because you need to identify an opportunity for yourself and a personal need. So you need to fulfill that personal need to be your own boss or to be self-employed. It doesn't come along the opportunity. It doesn't come along the way. You need to identify it by yourself, on your own, because you need to fulfill something that you love.
So my name is Himwika Jonas Amunyela. I am 29 years old. I am a Namibian-born Vambu-speaking man, born and bred in Windhoek, with elements of northern Namibia. We have a very dynamic team. We have quite a large team. We are about 8 people that combine our skills to bring the operation together. We've got 3 permanent guys on the ground and 1 temporary photographer and editor, and then we've got management level, someone in management, and then we've got 2 people at the director level. So yeah, we've got quite a dynamic team. Our weeks are a combination of not just working in the business, but working on the business as well. We've got 2 operations running side by side. We've got the printing side of things of Francis Photo Studios, where people come in and print paper and whatever documents that they want to print. Scanning the same. So that creates quite a bit of foot traffic for the photography side of things. We do quite a bit of passport photos as well, which just helps keep the cash flowing through the business. Ordinarily, that's the business side of things. And in terms of because we've got such a wide team, we normally do what we call a team huddle every Tuesday. So we sit down every Tuesday, 5:30, for about an hour, just to find out what is it that we are doing inside the business, what are the deadlines that we need to meet, where are there any issues, so that we can work on those things and tweak and tune the business and the people inside the business as we go along with it. It's amazing enough from where we started in my uncle's garage to where we are today, and if it can go further, I mean, it's really one of those things where we ask ourselves, if you can provide other people with a platform to do business, to empower themselves, to make money, to have a comfortable life, then why not? So that, as far as we can take it. Time, that's the biggest compromise that you have to give up. Francis and I haven't had a weekend in 7 years. Somewhere along the lines, about 2018, we decided to start taking Sundays off, because during the week you were at school when we were undergrad. During the week you were at school, during the weekend you were working. And it's been that way since we started, and these days we've got our team working in the studio during the week, and then on the weekends we take the weekend shift. So it's quite a bit of an adjustment. That you do not have much of a social life outside of your business, and you also have to structure your life around the business. You must understand as a business owner that when you go out, when you are having fun, or anywhere that you go, anyone you interact with, you are a representative of your business. So you really have to think about the business in every single aspect of your life. So it's a very sacrificial lifestyle that you must take up. Everything you do will have an impact on your business, and everything your business does has an impact on you. So very, very sacrificial. It's a love for the game. We have had the opportunity to not only work in the business, but also have other people come into the business, and it really, for me personally anyway, and I believe Francis shares the same sentiments, is it gives us an opportunity to mentor and give back to our people, which really helps in as far as you watch people grow, you watch the business grow, you watch yourself grow, you experience all of that. And it's a lot of people look at building businesses as just a money-making thing, but the money-making is one side of it. For us, it's always been, what is it that we can do? What is it that we can plow back? How is it that we watch this process happen? And that has kept us going for quite a bit of the time. If I had to bring it down to 3 things, I would say it's service, it's work ethic, and a keen sense of awareness. To break those down, you need to be able to serve, not just your team that you're working with, but also the client at the end of the day. You need to identify what the problems are, what is it that you are solving, and then actually go to work solving that. And you need to work harder than anybody else, because we have a small market, it's highly saturated, so you need to outwork everyone else. And then going into awareness, you need to be aware of who your customer is, set your target market, who else is in the market and how are they operating, what advantages do you have over your competition, what advantages do you have over your previous self, where is it that you can improve, where is it that you need to maintain. So it's, yeah, I would say service, work ethic, and awareness. Develop a love for the game. It's much easier to do something that you are passionate about, something that you actually love, because the money isn't always going to be there. A lot of people start businesses just for money, and that's fine. But if you're starting a business from the ground up, a lot of the time you are not going to have a lot of the money, and you're going to need something to keep you going during those times. And the love for the game, passion for doing what it is, whatever it is that you're doing, that has really helped us quite a bit. A little bit of both. I'm inclined to say it's a little bit of both. Choice in the sense that I could take the time that I put in my business and focus on something else, on a career, on whatever it is, and take all that mental capacity and time and energy and effort and blood and sweat and tears and put it there. So it's a choice in that sense, where there's an opportunity cost. Circumstance in the sense that if you have a goal and you want to get somewhere, in the world as it is today, you need more than one income. And if you want to see the most successful people, they generally have more than one income. And being able to have a business is something that gives you a lot of credibility over a long period of time. So it's really understanding that it's the nature of circumstance. If you want to get ahead in life and if you want to stand out, in that sense, it drives you to build a business and actually make it work. So a little bit of both.
It's a Quake.
My name is Ketan Pande, and I'm originally from Namibia, born and raised in Windhoek West actually, and I'm an entrepreneur. It all started with my mom actually, way back when I was still a toddler. She was the one that used to owned her own shop where she used to she used to prepare and sell her food, like fat cakes and fish. So for me, I joined because my mom was actually my inspiration. She's actually my inspiration. She's the one that motivated me actually to be where I am right now. And I wouldn't have asked for someone else, because how we started, I used to even go sell fat cakes. I saw she goes with the fat cakes to work. She was a nurse. And then I also started joining her by just going with the fat cakes to school. And after school, I always had extramural activities, but then after that, I used to go to the shop, climb taxi. Actually, I started with the age of 9. Climb taxi, go to the shop and start selling. That's how we came up to where we are right now. I am part of a team, a great team actually, very great. We work together. We just started working together as a family. Yes, it was just me and my mom, and then we started including my brothers, and that's how we continued, yeah, being a team. The name of the business is Mandume's Inn Home Shop and Takeaway. Like I said, it's my mom that inspired me. She's actually a businesswoman. So for me further, I was just thinking about the future, and I'm like, no, let's also start Mandume's Inn. Actually, what inspired us, it's a family surname. Mandume is our surname, so it is what inspired me to give the name and where we are. On a daily basis, I would say it is good. It is good. Not that we have problems due to Corona or the world problems. Actually, business started booming during the Corona season. Yeah, that's where people started noticing that, no, there's a shop here where we can go buy fat cakes, fish. Our plan was to start with a healthy meal, but then people started demanding for more food. Yes, so yeah, that's how it is now. It takes me basically 2 hours just to prepare for the daily meal. Yeah, I've trained myself to finish within an hour, 30 minutes or 2 hours. Fat cakes, the other food, we always wake up. We wake up very early. Like my mom, she wakes up at 4 or 5 and she starts baking the fat cakes. But then I wake up from 7, we continue. So yeah, we got it. But we work till late also. So we've got shifts, yeah. I've got bigger plans for this business. We actually wanted to go very far. That's why we are recruiting like our family members, brothers and sisters, cousins, just to go further where people do need food on a daily basis. I've got very big plans, so guys, yeah. As a business lady now, I have noticed that you always have a target. And your target, if you don't make it, you push to hit your target. So time is, you have to work overtime. At times I only close at 10 p.m. at night while I'm supposed to work till 8. Yeah, but then just to work extra time, you always have to, just to keep on going to hit your target. Yeah, so timing, my customers, my passion for serving and making food for any ordinary person walking in. I love cooking, really. At times I feel like I don't want to wake up, but then I have to, because it is what I want to do. It's a passion. You should love doing what you love doing, like cooking. If you don't have the passion for cooking, you won't make it. And you should also discipline yourself in the first place. Yeah, that's the most important thing, discipline. If you don't have self-discipline, then you wouldn't make it. You should be happy. You should know how to communicate with people also. That's the most important thing that I've noticed when it comes to customers. Customers are always right at the end of the day, but then you should love your customers. Communication. The advice that I have for anyone that wants to become self-employed is to have self-discipline. Yeah, you should have the passion to cook. And if it's not just cooking, you should have the passion for what you want to do. Yes, it's not just a thing that you want to. Yeah, you should love. I do understand it. People come to a point where they have to do a job which is not related to what they want to do. But then to self-employment, it is what you want to do. It's what you want to do. So you should always have the passion. Yeah. Yeah, okay, at times it's a choice. It can be a choice because you choose who you want to be in life. Yeah, you choose. And circumstances, they do apply, but not really. If you have to go for the majority, it is your choice. You choose that you want to wake up, and then you choose who you want to, what you want to be. Yes, and it's if you have it and you have self-discipline. I mean, life is a journey, but there's no destination yet. So yeah, it's a choice. It's a choice.
My name is Zoridi Gaseb. I am the director, founder and formulator of African Naturals Production, a Namibian-based hair and skin company. So I started this business, I started taking it seriously in 2018, but the idea stemmed from a conversation I had with my daughter in about 2016, where I cut my hair because she had asked me, you know, she wanted to have like weaves. She was still quite small then, and I told her no, she's too young to have weaves. And then she's like, okay, I want to relax. And I was like, you know, relaxes and it's chemicals and things like that. And she basically just threw the question back at me and asked then, why am I doing it? So that kind of spurred on my journey in terms of where it came from and then how I grew it into a business. So I went to local shops to look for hair products for especially ethnic hair, for my type of hair. And I didn't find like a wide range of products. And I was like, okay, let me try and mix some of what I can buy together and kind of make it so that my hair can react positively to it. And so I did that and I was like, okay, this is working, but I need something really for ethnic hair. And then a friend of mine from Ivory Coast had brought me like a little bit of shea butter, and I was like, what is this thing here? And that kind of also then spurred the journey of making the shea butter, importing it, and then adding some local Namibian oils to it as well. And in 2018, I then like, okay, there is something here. Let me grow it a bit and make it into business. My business name is African Naturals Production. It's not a very creative name, but I named it African Naturals because the raw material that I get are African. That's the first thing. And the products are basically made for people of Africa, right? And then also people mostly with ethnic hair as well. So that's kind of where the naturals, it's a play on words because the business is natural. So we make natural products, and it's also for people with ethnic hair or natural hair. When you become an entrepreneur, there are many hats that you have to wear. You can't just be CEO and then that's it. Of course, depending also on your skill set, financial input in the business. So a typical week would look like after work. So I have a full-time job as well. So I would then, after work, like between 5 and 7, I would come to the studio, depending on the orders that I have, and make the products. And so I do that like 3 or 4 times a week. Weekends belong to the studio. I don't have any weekends anymore. Then I also have to be the marketing manager. I also have to be the photographer. I also have to be, the financial admin person who gets input from the financial assistant. And I wear quite a number of hats. And I think that is just part of the game.
of being an entrepreneur? I definitely, initially I just wanted to, be based locally because I was comfortable, and in the past few years I've realized, through interactions and surveys and just some feedback from various customers locally and internationally that I actually have good products that work. So I've been more active in getting the products on the international shelf. I am currently part of the Trade Forward Southern Africa program, which is a program you go through in terms of learning how to export, the administration thereof, logistics, the finances, the marketing. It's a whole schlep. And yeah, so ultimately that is kind of the dream that I am now aspiring to have my products on international shelves, and then also to establish a very well-grounded manufacturing plant here in Namibia, because that is something that is still quite lacking in our country. So yeah, that is ultimately what I'd like to do. Some of the compromises that I've had to make personally is my own finances, because I self-finance. So I had to limit my expenditure. So my traveling, all the nice things that people have, I've definitely had to cut down on that because some of the money, if not all, is pumped into the business. Time is definitely one of the biggest compromises I've had to make. Sometimes I will be at the studio or I'll be at a networking event until late at night. So I've had to had conversations with my family as well with regards to how I manage my time. But I do believe in balancing, so I try and balance my life as much as possible. There is also, in terms of, besides time and money, there's also a lot of conversations that happen, at my workplace, with stakeholders, etc., so that I'm able to reach my goals. So yeah, it's quite a few compromises. Your life doesn't belong as much to you as you would wish, but like I said, it's just part of the game. What keeps me going is the impact I'm having on other people. I think that really actually is one of the main goals, because whenever I feel like, what am I doing, or the finances are not good, or I'm not getting this tender, or things are just not working out, I either get motivated by my mentor that you have a good product, or you have a good product line, you really should keep going. And also just hearing from my customers like, oh yeah, my hair is growing, or my skin has cleared up, or my beard is growing. Just feedback like that reminds me of why I started in the first place. And of course, ultimately, I would like to build a family legacy. That's definitely one of my top goals. So my children are definitely my motivators. Whenever things get tough, I'm like, okay, I'm actually building this for them in the future. So yeah. So one of the skill sets I will definitely say, it's not necessarily a skill set, but you have to be passionate about it, because the passion is what keeps you at your studio, at your manufacturing site until 10, 11 at night. That's what keeps you coming through in the weekends, in the rain, in the sun. That's literally what pushes you to go beyond than just, oh, okay, I'm starting a business for the sake of starting a business. Also, what you need to, especially in cosmetics, there's a ton of research. There's going to be a lot of reading, because it's products that are applied on the skin and on the hair. It is quite sensitive. So you have to make sure your products are safe to use. So you can't just mix anywhere and anything. So there's also quite a ton of research that goes into that. Ideally, I would also recommend that people want to go into the sector, they do a cosmetic formulation course, safety course as well. So those are, and also an entrepreneurship course. That can set you apart from a lot of other businesses, And also it can set you apart from making mistakes like I did. I made a lot of blunders in the beginning. So those are definitely kind of the stepping stones that I would recommend. The version that is required for me to run a business or run this business, it really depends on what strategy I'm working on or what direction I want the business to go into. So it really, every day is like, you'll plan the day, but there's so many other little nuggets that happen in between. So you just have to be flexible. That's like 100%. You have to be flexible because anything can happen, and then you have to know how to move with the times. So I wear a couple of different hats, honestly. I can't say I'm just this person or I'm just doing this. But I have a great team that also helps me kind of manage the hats as well. So I'm really grateful for that. What advice I would give? Gosh, I think I'd mentioned, like, in terms of the skill set that you need, there's going to be a ton of research. Do research. Don't just dive into an unknown market. Do a ton of research, market research, so you know what is out there. And also be continuously innovative. Don't just get comfortable, because the industries, regardless of which industries, continue changing on a daily basis. And you have to be innovative. You have to network as well and see where you can potentially talk about your business. There's many opportunities in other sectors as well. It doesn't necessarily have to be cosmetics. You can go to an event on marketing, for instance, or export, or any other event, and network, because you never know what the other person has an interest in, or what that person's networks look like. So yeah, and just don't give up. Yeah, because at some point you're going to, you know, reach that goal that you really want to reach. With regards to self-employment, if it's a choice or a circumstance, I think it's a bit of both. Because, for instance, in my regard, it was a circumstance because there was a lack of products in the market, right? In my regard with starting this business, in terms of whether it's came from circumstance or a choice, like I said, it's a bit of both, because during that time when I started the business, it was circumstantial, because there weren't products on the market for ethnic hair. So I kind of filled that gap to a certain extent. And now things have changed. That's why I always advise people to look at, you can't just be in your little bubble as an entrepreneur. You have to look at what is happening in the world as well, because now there's a lot of products on the market. And we're also going through COVID. So at some point I can understand other people come from circumstance in terms of COVID, but then it's also very important to have a little bit of choice in that, because if you're just born out of circumstance, then passion is a little bit lacking. And what keeps the business going, even after COVID, after whatever happens in the world, is the choice to show up every day. So I think it's a little bit of both. But in the Namibian landscape, in terms of entrepreneurship, I would say a lot of entrepreneurs start from circumstance because of lifestyle or livelihood or lack of livelihood, financial implications, and so forth. So yeah.
Well, there we have it, folks. We have heard it from the experts themselves. We hope that you have picked up a tip or two and that you are well on your way to becoming your very own boss. Don't forget to follow us on all of our social media platforms. My name is Elizabeth Ipinge, and it has been a Quake.
It's a Quake.